Well, good evening everybody. Hi Chloe, hi Majenko. Anybody else lurking in chat? I see you have been entertaining yourselves while I have been setting up. But, excellent. Right, as we know, unexpected Saturday stream because Shelby is unable to stream today, so I figured I would make a valiant effort to poach some of his audience, so we'll see if anybody turns up. We'll get back to the rainbow, since we made good progress. The Industrious Ant, hello. Sorry, for some reason I cannot read the screen very well today. The red is darker than usual. That's odd. Anyway, back to the rainbow, because things were going well yesterday. It worked, which is a considerable relief after the VT240 adventures. But we fired it up without the various expansions in memory, hard drive and graphics. Excuse me. Nope, that sneeze disappeared. There it is. I do apologise. Couldn't reach the mute in time. We also have the original documentation set for the unit itself. It's the user kit, and for, I think that one's MS-DOS. Yep, MS-DOS there, and CPM there, and GSX, and so on and so forth, and all the original floppies, which I have been busy imaging today. All good, except for one, which we'll get to, and I was surprised to discover the original disk for the word processor that I found in the setup backup disks, and that was the one disk that doesn't read properly. Well, one of two disks, the other one I think is just data. But the original doesn't read either. Exactly the same pattern of bad sectors. So I wonder if they did something strange to that one, and it just doesn't like the RX50 format that Majenko wrote for Greaseweasel. So something to play with. The RX50 remains unhappy. The lower drive, drive B, is working fine. Upper drive, drive A, isn't. It's probably just because it sat for 35 plus years with a disk clamped in it, which won't do the pressure pad on the upper side any favours at all. So might get around to looking at that, seeing whether it needs renewal replacement. whether there's anything to clean up inside the drive to deal with some of the rather agricultural noises it was emitting. You guess the format. Yeah, it's fairly straightforward format. I don't think they did anything particularly tricky with it. The interesting thing appears to be that they're doing software-based interleave, so sectors 1 through 10, isn't it, on the disk? They're numbered. The sector numbers increment or run in whichever direction it wants to run, but the software does the interleaving itself. So when you look at a sector dump of it in the hex editor, chunks of stuff all mixed together, and that matches downloads I have found on WinWorld for the Rainbow. They have the same structure there, so I think the best thing to do is probably to leave it as is and deal with unskewing the sectors in software if needed. But it's just one of those things, unfortunately. But anyway, we'll get these out of the way first, and we shall take a look at... No, actually, first we should take a quick look inside these. If I can put these down. Because we have a disc in this one which could be actually quite useful, if not for one thing. So what we have here is a little folder thingy, and we have the memory test procedure. Where are we? There we are. Which goes into detail about how you jumper the memory board for different combinations of chips in different banks, because you have a free choice of 64 or 256K in each bank. So that's handy to have. We have the installation guide for the memory option. We have the protective card thingies that should have been in the disk drive when it was stored for decades, but oh well, unfortunate. What else we have? README first for installing the language ROM if it's shipped with the US, and this is instructions on how to swap it over for a British one. 'Cause this one was... the machine actually came from DEC in Reading via my colleague. It was his home machine, but it's got a DEC asset tag on the front. System keyboard setup features, CPM commands, error messages, revised error messages. There we go. Because the error message table in the main manual doesn't match the messages we were seeing, which is excellent. What else do we have? Oh, there's the actual installation guide for the ROM. For setting the machine up and installing the ROM. Which we might have a look at, see how big a difference fitting the American ROM makes to it. It obviously didn't change the date format in MS-DOS. It turns out that was something that was introduced in MS-DOS 3 and it's only version 2, so there is no way to set it to a sensible date format. You've got the Middle Indian nonsense. So yeah, this is the manual for the colour graphics option, including what do we have here? Various bits we don't have, like the cable, but we do have the GSX86 User's Guide and Programmer's Manual and driver disk, which is good, and then there's the manual for the Rainbow itself. So we've got all the hardware manuals, which is nice to have. We've got a lot of software manuals in the relevant folders, and we have the original language ROM, or nationalisation ROM I suppose it is. And we have this disc, which doesn't have a jacket, and it says, let's switch cameras. Rainbow Diag disc, which is handy, but it unfortunately has... Let's see if the camera will catch it. several patches of grot on the media. So I don't know whether I want to risk that in the drive. It's the only dirty disk in the lot. And yeah, it looks like fungus or mould. It's definitely growing, or where are we? Yeah, that mottled surface, which is in patches that are sort of growing outwards. Yeah, I know that's on the non-reading side, but the reading side is just as bad, and you don't necessarily want the grot on the felt pad either, do you? Because it'll just transfer it to your other discs. Let's see if there's an example on the reading side. Yeah. Where are we? Where's the room light up there? I don't know if it's coming through on the camera, I can't quite see in the preview. But yeah, there's grot on both sides. I might look to see if there's an image on WinWorld, and then we'll stick it on a blank disk and see what happens. But for the time being, those can go back in the box. And we'll crack on. But the plan this evening, I'll do this for a couple of hours until 8 o'clock local, and then we'll hand over to Majenko because he has exciting things to do with his PDP-11. Purple Jelly Beans, hi, sorry I didn't see you there. Good to see you there. What are we doing? Yeah, she'll be read, I suppose, Majenko, yes indeed. Let's start with a simple one and fit the memory upgrade. If I can find somewhere to put these, I'll get the soldering iron out of the way, that'll help. And I figure if we take these one at a time, then if any of them are broken, it becomes a bit easier to work out which it was, even in the absence of a diagnostics disc. So, one moment. And some deja vu, hopefully it'll actually open up this time. There we go, that's how it's supposed to come off. And of course, if this all goes swimmingly well and fires up first time with all the options, I can always take the lid off the BT240 and we can try and investigate what's gone wrong with the power supply on that. But first we need to extract the system module from this again. So, power cable out. Ooh, I don't like that. Floppy cable out. Undo the thumb screws at the back. Yes, it probably is because Cobb's not here. We'll see if he turns up later to jinx things. Someone's got to jinx things, it's just a rule, isn't it? Why is that one stuck? Right, and slide out the main board. There we go. So we want to fit the memory expansion first, which is this card, and it should just drop straight in on that one there. Now then, have I dropped a goolie? No, I have not. that is the right spot for that. I was just confused by the lack of a... where are we? Yeah. There wasn't a peg to go through that one for some reason. But anyway, slide it back in and see what happens. Why? So I was just looking at the floppy controller card there because it was not supported as well as it could be, and that's because that one hasn't clicked it home, that's why. That'll do it. And look up the floppy disks. And the power. And the grounding lug. And that should be everything we need. We shall leave the lid off for the time being. Plug in the RGB to HDMI. And the electrons. And we shall bring up that one. I have tweaked the transparency on that so it looks a bit better than yesterday. Spare googlies, unfortunately not, no. Oh dear, Chloe is up challenging Cobb in the farting stakes. Well, that'll be an excitement for chat later, won't it? So let's fire one. Cannot display this video mode. That's not a good start. There we go. I did a bit of fiddling with the RGB to HDMI geometry and sampling settings and such like last night, and new memory size 448. So is that what we expected? 128, 192. Be quiet. 192 for message keyboard. Yes, it would help if I had the keyboard plugged in, wouldn't it? But sorry, what memory are we supposed to have in this thing? 128 on the base unit, 256 and 64 is 448. Yes, right. So it recognises all the memory. We'll run it through the self-test that's in ROM. Oops, sorry, I think I caught the mic there. We'll run it through the self-test that's in ROM first and see what happens there. Hopefully that does enough of a memory test. That'll do. In fact, we can check what it does. Ah, hi Matt, how are you doing? It is indeed a me, yes. An unexpected Saturday me. Because Shelby is otherwise engaged this afternoon, or this evening. So I'm pinching the first 2 hours of his stream. Be quiet. And Majenko is pinching the second 2 hours. Right, so execute self-test. S. And we'll see what the manual has to say about memory self-tests. First 64K. I get the impression this manual is for the Model A, which was the first model, which only had 64K, and was never updated for the Model B, which is what this is, because the messages are different. RAM option is not tested during power up or reset, and is conditionally tested during self-tests. It doesn't say what the condition is, just that it's conditional. Mainboard. Okay, and these are error lights on the back if it fails to start, so that's not relevant. Okay, well, we'll see what it comes up with here. Pondering food, is it, Chloe? What's the food this evening? Well, it's new food, obviously, Majenko. You can't ponder old food because you've had the old food. You've always got to be pondering the new food. Oh, we had some flashing keyboard LEDs there. Pseudo burgers, excellent. Where do you get your supplies of pseudo these days? Sounds good, Matt. I ate on the run this lunchtime. It was KFC. Occasional treat before braving the shops for the weekly food shopping, which did not go as well as planned, unfortunately. But there we go. Well, it doesn't surprise me over in your part of the country, Majenko. All sorts of weird things happen there. Well, I think we can definitely say it's doing something. That testing is taking a lot longer than it was yesterday. But I suppose if it's got an extra 2.5 times the base RAM installed, then it might well take a while. So let's see what it has to say for itself. In the meantime, did I plug power into the... Okay, time for the drives to grind again. Message 12, drive A. Well, it's interesting that it's giving an error even with no disk in there. I can understand it giving an error because it couldn't read the disk during boot, but what's it erroring about there? It can't be failing to home, because that would affect drive B as well. Unless it expects me to put a floppy disk in. Hang on, let's have a extended self-test. There we go. Load a blank or scratched diskette into disk drive A and close its door. Since the extended self-test only reads data from the diskette, the data is not destroyed. Okay, so it's probably upset because there isn't a disk in there, but we know it can't read disks anyway, so that's fine. So let's power down and we'll try... Yeah, I don't think it wants a test disk, it just wants something it can read. Knowing DEC, there is probably a fancy rack plug you can install on the back to put it into an extra special diagnostics mode or something. Come on. Some of the keyboard. So as you know from your VAC station with Genco, various tests are blocked off unless you install a special rack plug, which tells it that you are an authorised field circus monkey. And therefore can be expected to have the kit of field service tools, including the specially formatted discs and tapes and all the rest of it. Whether this has the same thing, I'm not entirely sure, but especially since it comes with a diagnostic disc, maybe it's all on disc, but I'm sure we shall find out at some point. So again, we have to disconnect. I do not like how much that's pulling on that. Oh well. I also don't like how much space this takes up to work on. Yeah, the VAC station can at least write its own, but again, I think you need the... Let's go with the graphics option, colour stroke graphics next, rather than the Winchester, because I think the Winchester is going to give us the biggest problems. So, graphics board goes on that jobby there. And come on, that needs to rotate a bit, doesn't it? There we go. Right, some of these clips have been a bit squashed in the past, so that might be why they're not sitting as well as they could. But anyway, graphics board installed. I mean, I could delegate the problems to you, Majenko, but on the other hand, if it works, then it's a shiny thing. And I don't have the trim piece to block off the hole in the fascia if I remove the drive. So the question is, do I want an ugly rainbow so that you can have a drive for your PDP-11? I mean, the answer might be yes. We might be able to come to a deal. I have a 3D printer, but not one that will print something that size. Although it would give me an excuse to order the fancy beige filament that Shelby was showing off the other day. It probably wouldn't be a match for the rainbow's funny grey stuff, but there we go. Right, and back here again, floppy drives. God, it's a lot darker in here than yesterday. That's clouds for you. Well, no, that's Easter holidays for you. Couple of weeks of glorious sun, and why don't I turn that off? Sorry, I'd forgotten that was off. I'm an idiot. Cobb, how you doing? Sorry, let me just scroll back a bit. Yeah. So again, video capture. And I'll check this. Okay, no, there is no power to the Winchester at the moment, so the fact it's not spinning up is not unexpected. Which is not to say that it will spin up when you try it, just that it's not expected to at the moment. So, apply power. Hi RF, how are you doing? We are picking up where we left off yesterday with the Rainbow, which we got booting in the minimal configuration of the built-in 128K of RAM, but no expansions and only half of the floppy drive working. We have installed the memory expansion, and that appears to be working okay. We've just installed the colour stroke graphics option, and we're going to see if that works. Then after that we'll try the hard drive controller. But let's pop the video capture back up. Sounds good, Cobb. Right, testing. Let's see what it has to say for itself this time, and whilst it does that, I shall look for a boot disk. I need the CPM boot disk and the graphic. You and I are going to fall out if you don't stop making that noise. CPM boot disk and the graphics utilities, which should include a diagnostic test, which sounds like what we want at this point. SEDT, hard drive utility, multi-plan. Is it on this one? Third time's the charm. Print. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Tutor. CPM graphics. Graphics diagnostics and installation. There we go. So let's try booting. For some reason the CPM graphics disk is labelled on the back, but we'll pop it in drive B. I suspect that means it was intended to go in drive B, so maybe it's not a boot disk. Let's see what happens. Okay, it is a boot disk. DZAC, thank you for your contribution there. How are you doing? Good to see you. B.E on E. Select. Okay, E must be where the hard drive would show up if we had one. Type any key to exit. Drive not ready A. Cancel program. Okay, so despite being labelled as if it's to go in the drive B slot, this is definitely expecting to run in drive A. And God knows what it actually is. Organizer, maint pip, assign graphics. Okay, let's see what it's set up for. So this is GSX86, which was graphics drivers extensions for CPM from Digital Research. So it used an assign.sys file to configure which hardware was there. DDR-GCO high. So okay, that's DEC Rainbow Color. High resolution colour is what it's set up for. So let's load the graphics stack. So GSX eventually evolved into the GEM VDI, which was the graphics layer for the GEM environment. So I have passing familiarity with GSX. I know GEM a bit better. What I'm hoping is that these drivers being available mean that it would not be beyond the wit of man to port them to GEM drivers. Yes, exactly, Matt. So it would be fun to get that running. It would probably be horrible, but it would be fun anyway. So what do we have here? We have drivers for various printers. The LA50, the LA100, HP 7220 sounds like a plotter, 7470 similarly. 2940 I'm guessing is a plotter as well. Colour, monochrome, high, medium res, so you've got different lower resolution, more colours, but who wants that? GSX demo? There must be something we can run to actually demo this properly. Maybe we should consult the Book of Words. Since I have it here and everything. Color graphics option installation guide. Testing page 33. Access the GSX menu. Oh, so you're supposed to just boot into GSX. Okay, that sounds interesting. Well, let's have a quick look and see if there are any. Install.sub would be the setup program. Sub is the CPM equivalent of a batch file. It's a submit file. Instant graphics, RGI utility. I don't know. Let's try running something at random. DEC OP15 sounds like it's probably a 15 colour demo or something. Nope, it's a diagnostic test. This system has a colour monitor only. Quick verify. No, let's run the whole thing. We've got time. So it sees the hardware, that's good. Ooh, that's shimmery. So we need to adjust the timing slightly. Yeah, running things at random is always a good plan. What's the worst that can happen anyway? Okay, so those must have been the medium res tests, so now we're on to the high res. I mean, that first pattern is quite obviously a binary count, so it's just writing the address of each location in video RAM to that location to see what, make sure it's all working nicely. Got some wibbly wobbly lines, always good. Yeah, I figured it was definitely some sort of very pink. Pink, that. Oh, okay, right. So what it's doing is trying to display white, but of course, because it's you end up with magenta, because the green wire, the green line out of the graphics option isn't currently routed to the monitor, because DEC. It will at some point know that there's a register you can set to say green comes from the onboard graphics, or mono comes from the onboard text or the graphics option. So yeah, yeah, I have no idea what that's doing, but it was doing something fun. Okay, well that's gone off the bottom of the screen, so obviously we have the geometry slightly wrong on the RGB to HDMI, but that's fine, we can fiddle with that later. Okay, maybe it wasn't supposed to be, well maybe it wasn't actually supposed to all be on the screen. Yeah, I think it must have flipped the mux over so that it's driving the green gun from the graphics now, which it wasn't previously for whatever reason. I have no idea how long this is supposed to take, by the way. I don't think it actually says in the manual. How small do we reckon these squares are going to get before it gives up? You have food. That's excellent news, Chloe. I do not have food. I shall have food later. Oh. RF program. The brave new world where your sockets need firmware updates. Excellent. Ooh. Okay, now we're into high res, obviously. So it hasn't got to do that whole thing again. Rightio. No, you're not having much luck there, are you, Cop? That sounds bad news. My lights are old-fashioned. You do that and then they all go out. Although I tell a lie, I do have two whiz bulbs in the living room because I didn't fancy going full on hue. And they were on buy one get one free in the supermarket on an evening when one of the two in there blew, LED bulbs blew. And I wanted to get a matched pair, but for colour reasons, and they didn't have any cool whites, and I don't like. Well, I want mid white in the living room. I don't like warm white; it makes me feel queasy. But cool is a bit too cool in there, so I've got some whiz bulbs set to I think 5150 Kelvin because obviously. Oh, now we have something new. Again, one edge is getting cut off slightly, so. Because the graphics card is a completely separate graphics chip, oscillator, all the rest of it, the timings are going to vary between the two. It does warn in the manual when you switch between, or the program's reference, when you switch between the graphics and the text modes, the screen will bounce as it relocks onto the sync. So obviously we need to set up a separate mono and colour sub-profile for the RGB to HDMI. It can cope with that in theory. It even has the ability to automatically switch between the two if it thinks it needs it. So yeah, slight alignment problem. It's just obviously it's running on a different clock, so different phasing, all the rest of it. But we can dial that in once we've got it behaving itself. You need a static screen to do that properly, unfortunately, so we can't do it in this test because it's changing back and forth too often. So this must be the full blue screen that was mentioned earlier, I presume. Yeah, I must play with Home Assistant at some point, Matt. I know you've been telling me to for years, but a colleague of mine set it up recently because she was fed up with her Sabbath lights, having to reprogram them when the clocks changed and all the rest of it. So just has Home Assistant follow dusk, I think, and some light sensors or something, which works out quite well, and it seems to be a nice system. What subtest 16? I think it's nearly done, Cobb. But if we get to the top of the hour and it's still bloody going, then I'll knock it on the head and we'll plug in the Winchester and see what happens. Okay. Well, that's presumably the scroll test. It would appear to be scrolling quite happily. This is just telling us up yours, which is always a possibility. All tests complete. Excellent. What next? Do I... No? Oh. We have noisy disk drives again. When finished, remove and reset. So I thought that was a demo disk, but it's obviously not a demo disk. No, you press the bottom of the disk, don't you? Right, there we go. So let's have a look. The installation and demo, it says. Huh. Well, let's boot CPM instead, so that we can skip that startup procedure. That was looking for files on the wrong disks. And reset. So reset is Control F3 twice. Yeah, I thought there'd been I'd seen I think Usagi showed off an actual demo of the thing when he was showing off his Rainbow a while ago. Right, so back there, and we want graphics, diagnostics, installation and demo. Yeah. And we press Control C so that it knows you put a new disk in there. Yep. And what do we have? Dex Mop, Dexel 15, GSX Demo. Let's type readme.rgi. Okay. So this is some sort of graphics scripting language by the looks of it, which will be fun. Let's see if there's anything in the manual about demos. Well, this is what to do next, page 41. No, what to do next. Install other options if you have them. Install the sysunit in the floor stand if you have one. Copy the diagnostics hardware test information to the Rainbow Diagnostics disk to keep all the tests together, and see the GSX 86 Getting Started manual for more details. So we have that here somewhere. I think, counterintuitively, it's actually in the MS-DOS folder. So I shall catch up with chat in one moment. GSX Programmer's Reference Manual. MS-DOS Advanced User's Guide. Must be that one then. So let's switch back to that camera. So we have the GSX Getting Started guide. So let's see what it has to say. No, what's it on? And we'll go back here. Connecting printers and plotters. Well, we don't care about that just yet. We'll get to that some other time, because we have some compatible plotters upstairs if we wanted to play with that. Still connecting printers and plotters. Running graphics software. Here we go. Running the Rainbow Graphics demo program. Installation and demo only. Okay. Graphics A, and then RGI GSX demo. Okay. So graphics B, because we were on the wrong drive. Now, plotter stream would take some setting up because it's on my bookshelf in the study, so it won't happen until I've redecorated the study at the earliest. But it might happen. Oh, trying to rain. Excellent. I wasn't paying attention. Assigned sys not found. Why assigned sys not found? Okay, let's do... Huh. I could have sworn we managed to boot... Aha, that's why. I was looking at the wrong disk. It was the CPM graphics working copy that had the... So we need to relog the drive with Control C, and now we can do graphics B. I don't want to run the installation just yet, Cock, because I think that's already been done on these disks. I don't want to accidentally cock anything up. If I were to set up a fresh one, which I could do, I've got some fresh disks, I will certainly give it a go and see what happens. But now I think we can run the demo. It's still weird putting the disk in upside down, I'll tell you that for nothing. Right, and now RGI GSX demo. Okay, so what we're going to discover here is that the colours are all over the shop, and there is good reason for that. It would have been nice if that had stayed up for more than about 3 seconds. Okay, 10 seconds, right. And the reason the colours will be wrong is that, or will not be as we expect, is that it's capable of 4096 colours. So it's a 12-bit RGB space, and the analog board on the RGB to HDMI is capable of I could probably edit that file to change the sleep, make it a bit longer. We'll give that a go. No, we can't give that a go because I don't think we have red.cmd on this disk, do we? No. We would need 2 drives to get the No, maybe we can load the text editor off the other disk first. We'll give it a go, see what happens. But no, the so yeah, it's 12 bits, so 4 bits per colour. But the RGB to HDMI is only capable of determining or discriminating 2 bits per colour. So we're looking at a 64 colour downmix, effectively, of a 4096 colour palette, which is probably going to be looking a bit weird. I wonder if there's anything in the manual about pausing the demo. Let's have a quick look in the table of contents. Running graphics software, page 69. No, it doesn't give you any additional information there. We'll give it a couple of minutes. Let's have a think. If we try putting the CPM disk in drive A, it probably won't work, but it's worth a shot. No, that's not happy. Cancel. So if we Control C and run red. Oh no, you need to give it the file name, don't you? Yeah. I'm just looking to see if pip has the option to load a file into RAM and then prompt for a new disk, because pip is the equivalent of copy. Peripheral interchange program, I believe. Options. Oh, this is very DEC-like. Okay. Well, I suppose pip came from DEC in the first place, so maybe the help system is just ignore, translate, insert page, break. No, that's not what we wanted. Quick copying, read files, set sys, start copy set. No, okay. Pip examples. There was something called M drive. Maybe that's a memory disk we can run. Yes, there we go. So we can say M drive 1. So we now have a drive M which we can put M equals red.cmd into. Right. Yeah, I will have to tear down the RX50 and give it a clean. What I wanted to do was sorry, one moment. Rewatch your stream from last night, because I was paying more attention to Shelby. I'm afraid I was keeping one eye on you, but Shelby was doing sysgen stuff that I'd been hectoring about during the week. So I figured I'd pay attention to that. But now we should be able to do this. Oh, hi Divers. Yes, it was a... yes, about 35 years ago I reckon this machine was put away, if not longer. The latest date I see on anything is about 88, I think. So quite a while ago. Well, this is not working, which is unfortunate. So yeah, I'm hoping that we just need to strip down the RX50. We'll try and clean up the mechanicals, because it does sound rough as all hell, and look at the state of the felt pad on drive 0. Oh, if it just falls off, okay. Oh, that's the springs, is it? Okay, this is obviously crashed, so we'll just kill the power and have a look at the Winchester drive. Yeah, so we'll try and replace the felt pad, pressure pad, and see what happens. That might be all it needs, if we're lucky. But I figured doing an RX50, what's the word I'm looking for? Rejuvenation. Less than 24 hours after Majenko had done one might be seen as a bit lacking in imagination. But we'll see how we get on. So that can go down there, and we need to do the shuffle things around again dance, don't we? I mean, you raise a fair point, Majenko. Yeah, well, this is the worry. Fee 1 hard drive. He might indeed try to extort me like that. Right, so system module out for hopefully the final time. And where are we? There's that. So what we want to see ideally is here's the Winchester board. Lots of Exotica on the top. What's that? Is that oh, it's a WDC part. Okay. WD 1010. I thought it might be a T11. DEC used the T11, which is a PDP-11 on a chip. It's the part that powers the VT240. They also used it in some of their disk controllers. For instance, the one in Majenko's PDP-11 actually has a smaller PDP-11 as the disk controller, which is neat. So if he gets really stuck, I have an inverse assembler for him. Yeah, WDC 1010, boring. But anyway, we'll get this back in. I suppose one of the advantages of it being such a limited ecosystem is that there's no room for, error when it comes to configurations. You can't have IRQ conflicts if the amount of the available hardware is so restricted, and so on and so forth. Right, come on. Why does that not sit flush with the back? That's annoying. But anyway. Just do up the thumb screws a bit on the back so I don't forget. Oh, did they come? Sorry, I did get a bit. How are we supposed to do this? This is. Oh, I see. Right, we've got to take the power cable off the power supply first. Then we can reattach the floppy drive cable. Yeah, I noticed there was quite a bit of chat I missed yesterday when I was faffing around inside this thing. I do apologise. I shall have a look back at the VOD. Might have been Phil. I don't recall if Phil is here yet. He was busy with solar panels earlier in the day, I believe. Right. So what are we doing? We are getting the control and data cable from the hard drive and plugging that in down here. This is quite a nice cable. So I think it's a standard MFM interface just bundled up into these two cables. So control and data combined into one header there. Two separate cables running back here to the drive where they split out. And then that just fits nicely down there. Let's see if I can get a better shot of that. Just plugs in there, and then we have to get the power supply cable back in, which is there to come on, there to there. This one's a lot easier when there isn't a hard drive connected. So let's try taking it off the power supply first and putting it on the motherboard first. Oh, come on. I think maybe we have to take the hard drive connector out and fit the power cable . There we go. And then that can fit down there. Yeah, as I mentioned yesterday, the hard drive was basically an afterthought for this. It's riding in a slot that was designed for an expanded or an enhanced communications option. So the case wasn't really designed to accommodate an extra connector down there, but they had to shove it in somewhere. So anyway, let's get the power connected up to the hard drive down here. and who knows whether it'll work. We shall find out. I shall turn the machine this way around so that you stand half a chance of seeing the LED on the Winchester down there. Except I can't do that because then I don't have enough slack on the cable to the RGB to HDMI. Okay, forget that. I shall just have to report back. So that there. Well, we might hear it, but we might just hear it go pop, so. So, we cross our fingers, we bring up the video capture and we turn it on. I don't currently hear anything different. No LED. Well, that was definitely new. See, owner's manual drive A. Let's press W. Start from Winchester. System loading complete. Well, that's not drive not ready. Let's oh, now we have an LED on the drive. So let's boot CPM. Okay, the system's locked up now. Reset. Yeah, it could be stick Shimachenko. We shall try giving it a quick twist. Okay, so that's the floppy drive not working now. Okay, let's double check the basics here. So disk end is connected at the disk end, which is good, and that is connected to the black socket, which is where it was connected before. That's good. Grounding lugs are connected. The drive out. Okay, so the Winchester connector fouls one of the floppy drive controller connectors, but that makes sense because you can't physically have both a second floppy drive, well, third and fourth floppy drive and a Winchester in here at the same time, so that's fine, but let's double check that went in there okay. I mean, it's a box header, so it can hardly not. those are all secure. Okay, so let's give it another go. Oops, going to complain about a keyboard. Well, that was a more normal noise from the floppy drive. Yes, you're quite right, Majenko. I did jinx it, so I pressed B to boot from the floppy. Okay, must just have been a loose connection on the floppy. Okay, warning, the hard disk is not formatted or not partitioned, or at least it saw it, so that's good. But whether it has spun up is another matter entirely, because I do not hear a single noise from it. So what we'll do is we shall look through this box of disks again, and somewhere in here is the hard drive utilities disk, which includes the diagnostics. Useless, so we'll chuck that out of the way. There we go. Hard disk utility, working copy. So install.sub. Reboot, recover. Let's try DEC16UTL. System error, computer not running correctly. Well, that's an excellent error message. Press help for more error information. No. Okay. Type P to proceed. No. Okay, so that's crashed. Let's see if we can boot the disk. Okay, it's bootable at least, but CPM, not much of a surprise. If it wasn't bootable, the boot tracks would just be wasted. Test and initialize the hard disk. Well, we don't want to reinitialize it if we don't have to. Repartition, show status. Hard disk does not respond. Okay, to return the help screen, press F9. Well, at least they say it's F9 on this one. Run the diagnostic. What did you miss, Majenko? Well, the hard disk isn't spinning up. It did boot this time off floppy, but it just says the disk is not responding, not working. Drive not ready this time. Okay. So we shall slide it out and give it a quick twist and see what happens. So how do we get this out easily? We remove the keyboard first again, and we shall undo the cables from the hard drive end rather than the system board end, I think. So power out. No, I can't reach those easily, so it will have to be from this end. data cable out, ground lugs off. Oh, that's not a good sign. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a good sign, maybe it's a bad sign. Let me move the machine off the desk and I shall show you what I'm looking at. Off the desk, off the kitchen table. There we go. So we have on the side here the stepper actuator with its little photo interrupter, and it is partway through the disc. I'm not going to touch that for the time being. What I was hoping to see was get to the spindle so we could see if it's stuck, but let's have a look at the bottom here. Those Phillips, yes. Yeah, not parked is not a good sign. I would assume it parks at the extent. Not sort of parking randomly in the middle of the platter, but the good news is it didn't make a single noise when we tried powering it up, so if it did move the heads halfway out and then crash them, it happened long before I got the machine. Rightio. Now, that's why we couldn't get that cable off. They slide off the back like you would expect for MFM. Right, let's give this a go. What are those? Those are some sort of Torx head, are they? Yep. How does... There we go. Six, 7, 8. Okay, that's fine. No, there's another connector somewhere. Where is there... No. Pillock. Right, it's a big one on the top here. Presumably for the spindle motor. Which is there. That's not turning particularly freely. There's a resistance point about 30 degrees or so into the travel. What do you reckon? Do we just brute force and ignorance time it, or That sounds fatal. It does indeed, doesn't it? So on the grounds it's probably knackered, can't knacker it anymore, what do you reckon we should do here? Give it a twist, or should I try retracting the heads and then giving it a twist, or... So I think... Yeah, even a good sharp twist, you can see. Oh, there we go. Huh. That's not ideal, but... Yeah, so it's either now even more knackered than it was, or it'll work, but it was knackered enough that it wasn't going to work, so yeah, I think it was worth the risk. We'll see what happens. There, like so. Come on, where are you? There we go. Right, it's a good start, and the spindle motor power back on. Oops. This plate on the bottom, good, it is at least nice and easy to align if you can stop that from falling down all over the place. Yeah, that would have been unfortunate, wouldn't it, Cobb? I mean, it would have been one of those things where we'd scratch our head, realise what I'd done, reattach the spindle motor cable and think that sorted it, and then it still wouldn't have fixed it, obviously. But we shall soon find out whether we have made it worse or made it better. Do you want to place your bets now, folks? So we need that out of the way, we need the machine back. We shall not forget the cabling. So again, these nice moulded edge connectors, so no expense spared. Runners. Power ground strap up here. Yeah, I think you're right there, Cobb. I won't feel bad about it either way, frankly. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, we can offload it on Majenko. Haha! That's how this works, isn't it? Video cable goes in there somehow. There we go. Keyboard and power. Well, also, I know you're not averse to running drives that some muppet took the lid off to have a look at, so you know, I haven't gone that far. Fingers crossed, folks, let's power up. Let's bring up the screen capture. Still no noise from it. Yeah, that's a fair point, Majenko. We'll boot off the diagnostic floppy and see what happens. Ooh, well, we didn't get an error. Or did we get an error at this point last time, or was that when we booted CPM itself? Show status. No. Sector count, number, cylinder count. Oh, it's just register test. Restore test. Yeah, that should be homing the heads there. Proceed. Yeah, it was indeed worth a go, but yeah, well. Check to see if all connections are secure and proper. Rerun the test. If it didn't remove the controller module, well, okay, that's not going to be much useful. Much use. Oh, you want to go? No. Back to the previous screen. We'll see what help it suggests for hard drive not ready, but I think the answer is your hard drive is knackered. Help for more information. Yeah, if step 1 did not correct the problem, remove the hard drive and replace it with a new drive. Easier said than done these days. Oh well, that was kind of to be expected. Okay. Well, we've finished reinstalling the options we have for it. Running the graphics tests look like they'll have to wait for, or aligning the RGB to HDMI looks like it will have to wait until we have drive A working. so that we can edit files on the disk. So we can either try and take a look at that now in half an hour, or we can pop the lid off the VT240 and try and see why the power supply has failed. Which would people prefer at this point? Bearing in mind that Majenko has done an RX50 this time yesterday. Or not quite this time yesterday. I shall slide the drive out just so that we can have a look at it. Should auto park it, or being parked means the motor driver might have died. Okay. Yeah, so it could be all sorts of things on that drive. We'll leave it alone for the time being. And yeah, have a look at the RX50 then. Okie doke. So. At least it's a nice simple job to get out, he says, struggling to remove a ground clip. God, these are awful. Well, I mean, it should at least attempt to home. And you would expect, I mean, I'm not hearing it attempt to spin up, or I'm not hearing it attempt to move the heads at all. So, yeah. Could be something fairly fundamental gone wrong there. Whoops. Oh wow, the inside of the rainbow case is absolutely filthy. I shall have to give that a good hosing down at some point. As you can tell from the state of my hands, in fact. So, screwdriver setting there. Here we go. That's not particularly well. So yeah, we'll get this off and it's just going to moon us, isn't it, underneath, but there we go. Yeah, I haven't seen any reference in the manuals to a park command. I shall double check, but I suspect it's expecting the drive to do it itself on power loss. Okay, so does this just lift off? It slides out, okay. We have big plastic blocks on the side here. Are those next off, Majenko? I would imagine they are. Don't undo sides. Okay. We shall hastily redo sides. So it's this drive on the top we're worried about. Remove the back plate, is it? Yeah, there's nothing there. That's gone. So we need a new dollop of felt on that. But do we want to, while we have it open, have a look at any of the carriage mechanics? Well, we can compare to the one on the bottom, can't we? Yep, little felt disc on that one, so that's fine. What did I want to look at? 2 round spring clips at the back of the grey section. Oh, these here. Well, there's a felt disc on side B and it looks okay because that one was... Well, it's loose actually. It's fallen out. Hooray! Felt disc. Well, that's fine. That's fine. We can always put a replacement in. They go into a dimple on the top. Okay, so if we lift that up, hang on. Which end am I trying to remove this from, chaps? There's an end that appears to go into a groove. Oh, I see. No, I don't see. Ha. One. Two. Okie doke. That feels okay. A little bit. Unplug the double plug. There. Right. And then presumably repeat the operation on the other side, is it? Come on. Oh, I see what you mean about it being a double plug. Right. 3 towards the centre axis and then 2 towards me. Right, fine. There we go. So yeah, now there's no felt on either side, so it's not going to work, but remember which comes from which side of the drive. Okay, bear with. That one was A. Was B. Okie doke. They're mirrors. Oh, right, nice. Okay. Check lube on the top section spindle. So, I mean, it's spinning okay, but it feels a bit grotty. I shall have to find. There's a bottle of sewing machine oil around here somewhere. That should do, shouldn't it? But I presume I can just drop some of that in on the bearing surface top section. Oh, I see. The hub spindle, you mean? Yeah, A seems to be quite happy. B could do with some love, I think. Unless just I put the tape across it. Yeah, B doesn't spin quite as freely as A does, but B is the working drive, so yeah. Okie doke. So what else we want to look for? What we would like to do is work out why the carriage is making such a horrible noise when it's moving, but I don't think we can actually get to that particularly easily. Oops. Pillock. I should probably not have done that. At least they label the board spindle motor speed control. That's nice. Okay, yeah, there's some nasty gunk on the linear bearing. I don't know whether I can get that to focus. There's some old grease on that, so I presume that could do with a clean and re-greasing, could it? Which is not something I'm set up to do right at the moment, I'm afraid. The head screw will be gunky, right. Yeah, so to get to... I think we need to take this backboard off, don't we? No, that's just going to expose the back of the head of the head stepper. Well, the belt seems in good condition at least. To get inside, remove all the side screws. Okay, doke. Do scream out if I'm doing something completely wrong here, obviously. Oh, I see, and then that'll bring the front bezel off, will it? Right. Quarter two. Okey-doke. Right. You can't get good access to the head screw even then. Okay, fine. So if I slide this front bezel off, am I going to be surprised by a springy spring or something? Right, okay, springs with washers on the backboard. Oh, on one side of the backboard is obvious enough because it's got a ground ring on it. Fine. Okay, we have access to that motor. Let's pop that cable off. that cable off. So there's the lead screw motor. That's odd. What's that for? It looks like a track 0 index sensor, but it looks like it's in the wrong place. Unless I'm just misremembering. Oh, that's fun. There's a... Okay, no, it is the track 0 sensor. Well, I should have inspected this floppy before I put it in. Hard disk utility, it's got a big blob of something right in the middle. Oh dear. I suspect the answer is I probably don't actually want to go any deeper in at this point, do I? Unless I want to turn the lead screw, slide out the main body from the case, okay. What are you catching on? Oh, drive LEDs. Nice, okey-doke. So, yeah, I think that could definitely do with a small dollop of light oil. Okay, so that's the head stepper. I'm debating whether I want to try turning that or whether that's going to cock something up. Just on the grounds that it might make it easier to get to those rails to re-lubricate them if I move that slightly. Little pulley wants light lube. This one. Oh no, the one on the down here. Turn it, it's fine. Okie doke. Wrong way. Hang on. Okay, so it can't go back too far. Can it go forward though? That is the question. Yes, okay. Obviously that's a really hefty lead screw slug, isn't it? And I think it's got some gunk on the rails that does need to come off, so we need to find how can I deal with that? I think the answer is probably I cannot deal with this right now because I don't actually know where my relevant bits and pieces are. But I know how to get in, which is Yeah, okay. We have, well, apart from incredibly mucky hands at the moment, we have some proper lint-free swabs for doing that sort of thing. Where is the bottle of alcohol? Bottle of alcohol. I thought it was with the grease weasel set up, but it's not. Back in a moment. I cocked that one right up. I do apologise. Right. Bottle of alcohol. Okay, I shall catch you shortly, Majenko. So let's see if we can clean up this nastiest rail here. Oh yeah, that's cleaning up okay. It's absolutely covered in congealed grease, so I presume it will need a quick spray of something to replace that, maybe some lithium grease. Yeah, that's... Where are we? Pretty grim. Well, it's not as nice as I would have liked, Phil. It's just a cheap one that I got from fs.com when I was doing my fibre installation for the house. There are better designs out there. The one Shelby has, I think, works better because the lid isn't as violent. This is a over-centre plastic catch as opposed to a proper hinge, so you need the lid down when you squirt, otherwise it goes everywhere, and then as soon as you open the lid it flings it everywhere anyway, which is unfortunate. Right, okay, there's a lot of gunk on that side. I mean, we know that the drive was able to drive the heads past this gunk anyway, because it was reading drive B successfully, and it's obviously the single sled for the whole thing. But it would just be nice to clean it up anyway. Try and fix up some of the angry agricultural machinery noises it was making. Welcome back, Majenko. Did your bot take the opportunity to upgrade his brain while you rebooted? Or is he as bot-like as ever? Right, okay, excellent, that's that done, so let's see if it moves any more smoothly now. No, it's still, okay, it still binds in the middle because I didn't clean the middle of the rail, because I'm an idiot. So let's put it there, and grab another swab. Yep, it's plenty grimy in there, so at the very least this should reduce or make it a bit quieter. Okay, there we go. Oops, yeah, I think I got it. So let's see. Yeah, oh yeah, audio interface. That's wrong with crappy ones. You need good ones, obviously. Not that I can tell you anything about that. I have a Behringer thing on my machine upstairs to drive the hi-fi's, well, to feed the hi-fi in the study, and it runs for a while and then just drops off the bus, which is, no, it's still on the bus, it just doesn't actually pass any traffic, which is exciting. Okay, still a bit dirty back here. Oh, hi Sanity and Madness, thanks for the follow. How are you doing? Yeah, Chloe, I think you're right there. I bought mine when I started working from home in 2020 for the obvious reasons, and it was a question of what can I get, not what's any good. So what do we want to do? We want to, well, hand over to Majenko in a few minutes, but grease those rails, re-lube that pulley, possibly the centre spindle, and then attach some felt pads. Definitely need 2 new felt pads now. And then hopefully we'll have a quieter drive, and a working drive A, more importantly. Seeing as the Winchester isn't working, it would be very nice to have a dual drive system, and then I shall have to consider dumping the Winchester on Majenko, since, as he said, he might find even a faulty one to be quite useful for testing. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up. Are you starting in a second, Majenko, or shall I waffle for a few minutes? Where can you get a shirt like this one? Well, a shirt like this one, I would suggest not typing bang merch in the chat, because that won't get you anywhere. But if you pass to Shelby, he might tell you where to get one. Majenko is live-ish. So yes, if you enjoyed this stream, be sure to follow, so Twitch can fail to notify you when I go live again, which is usually on Fridays at 2 hours before Shelby's usual start time at the moment, which is 6 o'clock PM BST. But yes, in the meantime, we shall go and say hello to Majenko, because I believe he has a cunning plan up his sleeve to get his PDP-11 running, which will be fun to watch. And yes, Matt, I'm glad to hear someone had a productive stream. Well, we got the graphics working and the memory working, so 2 out of 3 ain't bad, isn't it? But anyway, thank you all for joining me. It's been a pleasure as always. I shall try and stream again during the week. I don't currently know when, because obviously Friday being Good Friday, I have family visiting. But I might try and do one earlier on Friday. I might try and stick to the usual time. I shall see what the plans are. Next up is probably trying to fix the power supply on the VT240 so I can finally demonstrate that. Or perhaps we'll do something else entirely. But yes, that's about it from me. So we shall see Majenko, and thank you all again.